Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I have the first of my read every book by an author challenge book. I have Destination Unknown, written by Agatha Christie. I'm reading all of Agatha Christie's books, and this is the challenge set by Michael K. Warren. And yeah, they're not all going to look this pretty, but ripped. The dog got to it the other day. He got mad at me and stole it and ripped it. It was a bit sad, but it's a very nice cover art. It was already kind of a bit ripped here too. But yeah, let's see. I don't know when this is. Actually, I think a book club edition from the 50s. Yeah, 1955. So I think book club edition from the year it was published. So yeah, very nice. This is the British edition because it was 3 shillings and 6 pence. I think my wife picked this up with it. I'm not sure where they got it from, if they bought it in the UK or in Canada, but yeah, very nice cover. So this is the only Agatha Christie I had read to this date, but I thought I'd reread it, and I actually probably enjoyed it much more on the second reading than I did on the first, but it's a very hard book to talk about without giving anything away. But basically it concerns the wife of Thomas Berton, who is a scientist who has a scientist who's working in Britain in the atomic. So this is so it's set in 1950s, mid-1950s of the Cold War. So Thomas Berton works at the Atomic Research Institute, and he disappears after attending a conference in Paris, and he is believed to have gone over to behind the Iron Curtain, over to the Russians. So it's a case of was he willing or was he kidnapped? And basically, regardless, he's an asset that needs to get back. He's famous for creating this new nuclear process called Z fission. And so you have Olive Betterton, his wife, who is under suspicion of knowing his intentions and aiding and abetting his defection. But she maintains that she doesn't know where he is. And you have Jessup, who is the Secret Service agent tasked in finding Thomas Berton, and so he has to interview Olive Berton, and then she decides to go on holiday, and he has her tracked. And you have Boris Gludur, a Polish American who basically is the cousin of Thomas Beston's first wife and was in the Polish resistance, and who wrote to Olive Beston, and Olive Beston was wary of him, thought he might be dangerous. And finally we have Hilary Craven, who is a suicidal divorcee who we find out lost a child, and that was what that caused the breakup of the marriage. And we kind of find out that she's going on holiday to what she thought maybe to make herself feel better, but then realizes that the bad feelings and the sickness is within her, and no escaping that, and no matter where she goes she still has it. So she has kind of decided to just end it all. And how all these people intersect and collide and create the story is that's a pretty much can't say anything more, otherwise it's massive spoilers. And it is very well done. It is all really well done. I mean, this is a mystery thriller. It's an anti-political novel, anything really. I feel like Agatha Christie was just watching all the news of the Cold War and just being like, "Oh, this is just so stupid." and there's also other themes about capitalism and stuff. It's a hard novel to talk about without giving any big plot spoilers away, and I think that's going to be my main crux from reading Agatha Christie, is not being able to talk much about the novel, being kind of like specifically what happens. It's just like talking around the novel. It's quite enjoyable. I think a lot of her fans aren't that big into the mystery thrillers, and this sort of thing is definitely done much better by people who are actually mystery thriller, spy thriller writers. But there was a fair bit to enjoy. It ends up wrapping up pretty quickly. Definitely the premise is amazing. Like, the actual premise is amazing. I thought that was a very good idea. The execution of the first half of the book is really good. Kind of when you find out what's going on, it kind of falls down a bit and then is wrapped up really quickly, and then something added on at the end, kind of thing. So it kind of falters at the end. It falters halfway through, to be honest, really. But there's some great characters. There's definitely her classic older ladies on holiday aren't quite what they seem to be, kind of a theme that runs through a lot of her books. It's always very nice, I think, to have strong female characters, multiple strong female characters that are pushed to the forefront as well. Especially if I kind of read a lot of crime and mystery thrillers, and especially from like 1940s, 1950s American, and they tend to be very male dominated. So I think I do need to read more female forward novels. It's definitely much more refreshing. All in all, it was probably about an average read. I definitely enjoyed it much more. I read it for the first time about early March last year, so kind of as the whole world was kind of descending into panic over COVID-19, and so that might have had a little bit of why I was a little bit underwhelmed by it last year. But I think a lot of it was kind of being a little bit disappointed at the end, and I think I was much more able to appreciate, from the rereading, knowing what actually happened. I think I was able to appreciate the build up a little bit more, and that the build up was really good, and then it kind of the revelations are a little bit unfolding. All in all, it's fairly good, and it's definitely one of those novels that I like from the 50s and before, because it has a lot of subterfuge and things going on that you kind of can't have these days. I quite like the old ability in these novels, and that you can kind of just change your appearance slightly and become a new person very easily. That's kind of maybe giving a bit too much away or whatever, but it's just a lot of these old crime novels and mystery novels. There's just a lot of things you can't do these days because of the internet and modern security advances, and it's very hard to become a different person person, or kind of just like I see just disappear. It's quite hard to disappear. I mean, I know people do it sometimes, but if you really want to be found, it's actually quite hard to do. So there definitely is part of me is why I like a lot of these vintage crime and mystery novels. It's just this seems to be a little bit more of an even playing field between crime perpetrators and crime detectives, and a little bit more sleuthing involved rather than just relying on modern techniques and technology. But anyway, that's a massive sidetrack. All in all, it's an average read. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, especially if you like Agatha Christie's murder mysteries. I think it's a bit of a departure and has has some exotic getaway scenes, and yeah, it was enjoyable enough. Good start, I think. And I think in America, this was published under the title "So Many Steps to Death." So yeah, if you don't quite recognize the title, you might recognize its American title. And I think because I grew up in the UK, even though I haven't read Agatha Christie, I know all of the titles. But I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research because I think some of the American titles might trip me up. Sort of some of these books I bought a ton of paperbacks from America, and so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research just to make sure I know what I'm reading. When it comes to reading a US title, I might actually know the book, just under a different title. But anyway, this was a good start to the challenge. And next up, I just picking out my massive book haul that I got from someone in America. I think about 46 books. I'm going to read Agatha Christie's The Man in the Brown Suit. I've actually started this on chapter 5. Really enjoying it so far. Again, it's actually another, I think it's another mystery thriller rather than a murder mystery. And it is, stars Anne Bedingfield, who had like a bizarre, very intense, like I think his father was into paleontology, and was more of a man of science rather than an actual father, and he recently dies, and she's kind of looking for adventure, and adventure finds her, and that's kind of where I'm up to right now. It's basically a mysterious death of someone that kind of gets spooked and falls onto a tube train tracks, is dead, and then coincidentally or not coincidentally, the rooming house that he was going to visit, another person a woman is turned up, like stabbed to death. And I guess the other mystery and why it's called The Man in the Brown Suit I believe the man in the brown suit attended to the guy that got run over by the train, or fell into the train tracks, and said he was a doctor, but actually wasn't, and just used that as a reason to search the body. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I think after that I might read one of her more famous novels, because I don't know if many people know this book either, but I'm probably going to be reading a few titles that people haven't necessarily heard of, or aren't the first ones that spring to mind when people think of Agatha Christie. But yeah, definitely look out for my talk on this soon, and I hope this lived up to everybody's expectations of my Agatha law, and if anyone wants to buddy read an Agatha Christie novel, let me know. I've got them all to read, so it'd be quite nice to enjoy the experience with a few of you. Otherwise, just let me know what you think, and have a good day. Bye.